Hi, welcome to Healing Humanity. My name is Dina, and I'd like to talk to you today about breaking free from shame and self judgment. So, you know that I've been walking this path for a long time, upwards near 12 years, and through this whole journey, it's been a journey of self discovery. It's been a journey of spiritual discoveries. It's been a journey of physical improvements and or attempts at physical improvements. It's been a journey of loss and an awakening to, number one, the way the world is, and number two, how others run their lives and show up in your life potentially. I would have to say that the most frustrating thing along this journey has been um, to realize that the shame that was tried to be put upon myself was an attempt at manipulation, an attempt at coercion to get me to either work with certain people or to not work with other people or to perhaps take myself out of the game altogether. None of which was um, achieved, right? And thank God for that. But through it all, there was a lot of um, like an attempt at trying to get me to feel shameful, trying to get me to feel um, self doubt and to judge myself harshly, not in a positive way, but harshly. And boy, I'll tell you, I cannot get over the amount of people who have enormous wealth or have a wonderful life that, you know, um, they have all the things that they could possibly need, perhaps even some of the things that they wanted. Maybe there was some extra things that they wanted. And what this benefited them is that they were given financial benefit or uh, blessing benefits in the end, should they succeed in, you know, causing me trauma. And I'm not the only one that's going through this. That's the thing. Lots of people are. But when you start to see the reality of what's going on around you, you have to understand that carrying shame is not your job. Carrying self-judgment is not your job. That's their that's their goal, is to get you to feel that way, but it's your choice whether or not you accept it. And for a small moment, I remember thinking, I'm not doing anything right. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I've never been like this. Um, maybe it's over. I'm never gonna, do anything or whatever. Started to feel shame, for not actually succeeding. I remember one afternoon just throwing myself on my bed and just in tears because I had tried so hard, was working 14, maybe even 16 hours a day sometimes, um, getting up early in the morning, going to bed late at night, trying to make something pop, and it didn't. And the shame that I felt on the inside of that was massive. But then I realized shortly thereafter, thank God, that wasn't God. That wasn't God keeping me from things that were for me. That was actually man and women interfering, getting in the way, causing disturbances. Because man thought that they knew better. They thought, especially, in particular, they thought um, any woman that had not been chosen by a man back 12 years ago or so was not worthy of elevating. And what a shame that is, because they wasted so much time. They thought that no woman could do it on her own. But what they also were doing is sabotaging every step of the way. And is that fair? Is that just behavior and treatment? No, absolutely not. It's not. So, how do you stay free of shame and self judgment? I think you don't give them the power mentally. You know, there's things in this world right now with cameras everywhere, your cell phone, your laptops, everything is open. It's it's public knowledge. There's no vault to your identity at all, especially when you're walking with God. Perhaps that's necessary when you're walking with God initially, but after a certain amount of time, enough is enough, or it should be. But it never was. I don't know if it still isn't enough, whether it's still going on. And it seems like it is. You know, one day people are friendly to you, the next day they want to take you out completely, and then the third day coming, they're your friend again. It's fake, it's lies, it's manipulation and coercion at its finest. And I think that it doesn't end with just lay people. It's with God's people too, because you guys were so indoctrinated to the fact that the way things were was exactly how it was always going to be. And you didn't read your Bible. You didn't understand that things were changing. In the end times, things are changing, and they are. You cannot deny that now. I mean, if you do, I'm sorry. I don't know how you can come up with that. So when you are encountering such coercion and such shame and attempts at making you feel shameful or to judge yourself harshly, I want you to really look within and ask yourself: number one, are you doing all that you possibly can in this moment? Are you making the efforts that you need to be making in order to make a change? At that time, I could absolutely say I was. And that's where things shifted for me. That's where their control and their narrative stopped completely working. When I realized that I was pulling my weight, I was doing more than I probably should have done. I was for certain doing everything that I possibly could, physically and mentally, at that time. And that their judgments were not from a place of truth. And that's where I had to let go. I honestly had to let go until they could catch up with the reality of what was going on around them. And I would ask you to do the same. You know, just look at your life. Are you doing the things that you've been guided to do? Are you doing the things that you want to do? Are you trying to make changes in your life? Are you trying to be better and acting in a way and treating your body in a way that is respectful to God's wishes and his commands in the Bible? Are you walking a path of attempted righteousness? I mean, we're all going to falter. We're all going to make mistakes. But for the most part, are you walking with God in mind and with his ideas and ideals in mind? Because if you are, no amount of what man says should matter to you. And I think there's so many people that think they have the power to control others. You know, and you know what's really sad about that statement is that, you know, realistically, because people are out here, you know, wanting money, wanting to change their own lives, instead of doing the work, they'll take that quick fix. They'll take the dime. They'll make the phone call. They'll state the statement, whatever it takes to get a quick fix for themselves, rather than doing the work yourself. The people that are doing that, they're the ones that should be feeling shameful, not the ones that are out here actually working hard, actually trying to make a difference for themselves. And I would just, leave this with you, that if you are somebody who is in it for the money, if you are in it to make a quick dime, or in it for control or manipulation, even for the fun of it, I would just say it's time to take a hard look at what your goals are, what your purpose is, what your own desires are, and ask yourself if this is the way to actually get there. Like, where are you going to be in 5 years from now? Is it going to net you what you think it's going to? Or are you just causing pain everywhere you go? Because remember, what you do in the dark will come to light, and especially when you're walking with somebody that's with God. Nothing hidden will remain so. Nothing. And what's sad about that is the way that people can approach others and think that they're operating in hiding, but they're not. Like I said, all things are seen, and it's time. It's time to make a change in this world. We cannot continue to allow every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Sarah, Jesse to have access to people at a whim, for a price. I don't even know. I don't know how it works. I don't even want to know how it works. But I can tell you this, that whatever you guys are doing, it's absolutely disturbing, and should, if it's not illegal, should be. I have a feeling it is illegal. But again, power and money control all, right? So how do you stay out of shame and self-judgment? You realize that if you're doing all that you can, and you're trying to keep in peace, and you're trying to live your best life, no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody does, it should not affect you at all. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. If somebody approaches you with a judgment, it's your duty to determine whether or not that judgment is truth or not. It's not up to them to say this is your truth. It's up to you to accept it as truth or to deny it as false allegation. And the minute that every one of us starts standing up and saying, no, this is false, this is wrong, this is not okay, that's when things will start to change. That's when you'll gain your power back. You'll step out of shame. You'll step out of your own self-judgment, which is typically false. It's built by a narrative of some very self-serving people. There are good people out here. I'm not going to lie. There are. And there are people that care and that are determined to be helpful at all cost. And sometimes it comes at a big cost. Sadly. But the unfortunate part is that there's less of those folks than there are of all the others that are just out here to make a dime, to try to harm others, to win something for themselves. There was this one girl I met, and I really liked her. I at first I thought we were friends, but then I realized shortly thereafter that it was another game. It was another, person coming disguised as a friend that was not a friend, that had ulterior motives, that was looking for their own benefit. And you know what's amazing about that is, in the end, when the end of that came about and I had to walk away from that whole situation, She actually apologized to me. She got what she wanted. Her goal was met through whatever she did, through whatever information she shared. Her goal was met and she got what she wanted. And it was not what she had hoped for. It came with problems. It came with, disturbances. It came with financial, troubles for her. And she wound up apologizing. And, I just shook my head and walked away. I would just say, when we start showing up as our true selves, when we start showing up with everyone as our true self, that's when the world will change. When we can accept ourselves, when we can accept our situations and move forward through everything, when you can look in the mirror and know that you've done everything, when you can put your head on the pillow at night and know that you did all that you could do in that moment, in that day, to make whatever changes you had desired to make, and you were happy with what you had attempted, even if it didn't work out. There have been so many people in the past, Walt Disney, Albert Einstein, so many other creatives that attempted so many different things prior to the thing that actually popped for them, the thing that actually worked. And I just want you to keep those people in mind. Seek out that information, because that will help you to build your own self-esteem. That will help you to build your own self-awareness. That if you are out here trying to make changes, it's not easy in these times. It should be. It should be. But there's a lot of interference. There's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of just coercive controls and just personal interjections into your life that don't belong there, that you have to pull from within. You have to pull from within and from God to know who you are, to know what you're doing, and to be able to lay your head on the pillow every night and say, I did what I think is best for the day. Even if that's nothing. Even if there's a day where you have to take that rest, by God, do it. Don't let people push you into illness or into such weakness that you can't function, because that nearly happened to me. I came into this week. I came into this after having illness and after being treated with radiation and after going through some relationship troubles and going through people that I loved having addictions. And when this journey started for me, there was no assistance, and there was no one patting me on the back. All I kept hearing is, no one's coming to save you. Well, yeah, no shit. No shit. And I would just say to you that if you're facing that, grow your backbone really quickly, because as weak as I was, there was no mercy. Absolutely none. But there should have been. And there should be for you too. But just stay strong and know that, look in the mirror, stay off social media, and put yourself to bed every night knowing that you did exactly what you needed to do for yourself in that moment, to keep your peace, to keep your joy, and to keep love in your heart. Because the way the world is right now, it will steal that so fast. So fast.